we're going to take a look at loading an image in dynamically. What that means is we're going to have a Flash document, and then we're going to load in an image off the server, which is not even going to be embedded inside the Flash document. So let's start by creating a new Flash ActionScript 3 project. And we're going to use components. This is the simplest way of doing this. Go to the component panel, and we're going to drag out two components. The first one is going to be the UI loader. This is where we're going to load the images into, and it can also load SWFs and other types of assets. And then we're going to load using this button. So we've used the button component. Let's hide the components now. We'll just go here and we'll just click on the label. We'll just type load it so we know we're going to load something. And then we're going to call this instance name of this button my BTN. So this will be my button. So when we click the button, we're going to load our image into this UI loader. Now, depending on how large the UI loader is, will determine how big the image displays. The image will always fit within this box here. So if the image is larger, it'll be scaled down to fit. And this is great for loading a bunch of different images in there. It'll keep the sizes pretty consistent. But let's use the free transform here. And I'm just going to use the Alt key to drag out from the corner here. And I'll use the Shift to constrain the sizes. And we're going to drag out a nice big picture here. So we're going to click the button and load our images in to this loader. So we're going to give it a name. So we're going to give it my_LDR for my loader. So there we go. We've basically set up everything we need on the timeline here. Now we're just going to create a new layer. Just call it A for actions, and we're going to apply our actions now to script this up. It's very simple. There's not that much to it really. So the first thing we need to do is create a function. And we'll call this function loaded. Alright. And you could have guessed that the function was going to be event. And we'll do the open and close parenthesis. Now, what we need to do in here is we need to target our loader. Alright, here we go. My LDR. And then we're going to hit a period here, because what we're going to do now is we want to give a property. We're going to give some kind of a property to our loader component. And this property is going to be called source. Just like with the video component. The source is very common with components. And the source is going to equal the image we're going to load, which I happen to know is img.jpg. Now the reason I chose that is because that's the name of the image we're going to load. It's a JPEG file called img. Now for this to work, we need to make sure we save it in the same folder. So we'll choose File, Save As. And I'm just going to load it here. I'm simply going to overwrite Untitled 6. I'll just click Save. Yes, we'll replace it. So now we've saved the file, and I know that it's inside the same folder that this image is in. So that's great. All we need to do now is have an event handler to trigger this event. So we need to give it for our button here. We know the button's called myBTN. We need to add an event listener. And we need some kind of a mouse event. And a mouse event's going to be click. And now we want to target some kind of a function, which is this function, which is called loaded. Alright, pretty simple. 3 lines of code basically. So let's see what happens now when we test it. We test it, no errors. We see the load it button, click the button, and there we go. We load in the image. So there we go. That's how we can load in an image dynamically using a UI loader component. You can also load in SWFs the same way.